We are back live. And Dylan's just making it back right in time, buddy. It's awesome. Another week of Around the Hobby here. Chris Goldline Cards. This week we've got our main man, Mike Jones. Everybody knows MM Warrior 0925. Huge in the Midwest Box Breaks Discord. We got Kelly from Kelly's Cards, Travis from Trav's Pack Pools, and a returning champion, the guy who's bailing me out today because my buddy Abdul's like, I'm stuck in all this Philly traffic. I can't make it. Dylan, can you save me tonight? Yeah, man, I got this. No worries. D Moose is in the house. So how we doing, guys?
Good.
Awesome. So the first question we always start with is, who are you? Why are you here? What do you collect? Why do you collect? Who do you collect? Like maybe you're just a sports guy and you're here. Mike, we'll go ahead and start with you. Mike, what do you collect? Why? Take it away.
So I'm a Braves fan, Chiefs fan. Started collecting, got my first packs of cards when I was 8 or 9 years old. Picked up, first pack I opened had 2 Dale Murphy cards. Didn't know anything about him, but figured he must be good if I had two cards of his in the same pack. So I became a Murph fan, a Braves fan. Later on, obviously, the Jones boys, it's my last name, so became fans of Chipper and Andrew. Been a Chiefs fan for a long time, so, here recently with Mahomes and CEH and Kelsey and Hill, it's been some good football to watch finally.
Yeah, man, you guys are killing my Broncos. We got to figure out how we're going to keep up with you guys. We got the offense and now some defense coming back. If Drew Lock's the man, we could finally keep up with you. Kelly, you're up. Mr. Michigan, I see you got your Detroit Tigers hat on. I'm sure you're going to tell me something about Alkaline.
Alkaline, thanks. Thanks for having me on, Chris. I'm Kelly. I'm Kelly's Card 1768. I'm here because I thought it looked like a lot of fun, and my buddy Chris invited me to come enjoy the fun tonight. I collect all sports cards, mostly baseball and football. My Tiger prospects. I used to collect mostly for myself, putting cards on my own PC. Now it's just as much about getting cards from my friends and cards into other people's hands, into their collections, as it is finding cards from myself.
I believe Kelly just sent my daughter 21 Jesse Winker cards. So when he says he wants to get cards into other people's collections, like there's just random boxes that show up, and he even writes it in handwriting because Claire knows his handwriting, and that's a special important thing. So thank you, Kelly, for being here. Travis, go ahead and tell us who you are, what you do, who you collect, why you collect. What's your story, Travis?
So I'm Travis. Travis Packpulse is my YouTube channel. Basically, I just open a bunch of stuff on there, do a bunch of random stuff on there. It's fun. I'm doing quizzes now. But I started collecting when I was a kid, 8 years old, 9 years old. Did that till I was about in high school, out of high school, stopped collecting, got back in a few years ago. And basically, that's been it. I collect everything: football, basketball, baseball, and basically my main PCs are going to be Astros, Rockets, Cowboys. Those are my teams. And then, yes, the Astros. And then Action, Variant, Heritage, rookie cards. That's like a really big PC for me. Like that's my number one PC. So that's pretty much it.
That's a very specific PC, and that's really awesome to have. Recently, I went away from, I want all the Broncos, I want all the Reds to, I want all the Cody Bellingers. Like, it was impossible to start, nickel diamond card to start saying, hey, I can have 200 of this, or I can have this one PSA 10. So I kind of went a different way. And Dylan, you've heard all the stories of how all of us collected as a kid and then got out of it as a young adult and got back in as an older adult. Like I'm 38. Don't get out of it, Dylan. Keep going. Tell us your story.
I'm Dylan D. Moon. Collecting after my dad. He is a huge super collector himself, and I kind of modeled my collection after him. So my huge collections are Stock, Hardman, and now Josh Dalmont. Moose is kind of like my favorite guy ever. Have like 400 cards with him almost. And I collect for the fun of it, but I've met so many cool people through collecting. It's been awesome, and I enjoy bailing Chris out tonight.
Awesome. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you mentioned that, it's the people that you meet, because we talked last night on the show with Che that the hobby is more about, the community, the people. If you guys saw the Jimmy Guns thread he had the other day where people were buying cards for each other, it's more about, the community than the actual cards themselves. And I'll always, think that and believe that. I've made lifelong friends through this, and it's awesome. So Travis, we'll go ahead and start with you on question number 1. Rules are simple. You get 30 to 40 seconds per question. If you don't take it to 30, whatever, no big deal. If you keep rambling on about your Houston Cheaters, I'm just going to mute you. No, I'm just kidding, man. I had to get one jab in there. So who is your sports hero, and do you have any of their cards?
Hakeem Olajuwon, easy. By far my favorite player in any sport, anything, from the Houston Rockets, obviously. In the 90s, when I started following sports intently, I was in Houston, Texas at the time, and they had just won their first championship. My dad bought me a bunch of the newspapers. I was just fell in love immediately. I have a couple autographs from him. I've got his jersey autograph back there. And, yeah, it's just Hakeem Olajuwon, by far the most influential person in my life.
That's awesome. I was not expecting that, but that is such a cool story, Hakeem the Dream. Mike, we'll go with you next, buddy. Who is your sports hero, and do you have we'll go with the collectibles then, since, Travis has jerseys. Do you have their cards, collectibles? What do you got?
So I guess I'll put 2 on the list. Dale Murphy, I mentioned earlier. And I've got an autographed jersey, got a game used bat relic autograph card. I think I've got one other autograph coming in the mail, and then Michael Jordan. So I've got a good stack of his stuff. No rookies, but when I first started collecting, a Jordan rookie was a dream card, and it still probably is. But I don't spend a lot on the hobby, so I'm not worried about trying to get one.
Awesome. Great story. Kelly, you got a visitor back there, so I was going to go with Dylan next, but since your cat joined the show, well, let's go with you. Who was your sports hero, and do you have their stuff?
When I was younger, I read a lot of stories about Bob Clemente and everything that he had done. As an adult, Curtis Granderson was my Tiger. A big fan of what he's done off the field, and all the stops that he's been at since he left Detroit. I don't have any. I've got some of the newer Clemente stuff, none of his vintage stuff. I do have my 2003 Bowman Chrome Granderson. No autographs or anything.
Yeah, I remember the first time we started chatting. Curtis Granderson was playing for Toledo Mudhens when I was in college there, and we'd go see him all the time. He was dating one of my friends, really, really nice human being. And Dylan, do I even have to ask the question? Because you've already shown it. Everybody knows, but, take it away, Dylan. Show off some of your stuff.
Yeah, I clutched this guy. His name's Mike Mcneil, decent MLB player. Fell in love with Moose after 2014-2015 World teams, made it to the postseason, won World Series. I don't know. I just fell in love with him, loved his nickname, loved everything about Moose. Yeah, the Moose is loose. Collected a ton of Mike Mcneil stuff, spent way too much money on Mike Mcneil stuff, got random one-of-ones everywhere. I guess my other sports hero would be Nicole Hardman Jr. Does great stuff off the field as well, and I think that's kind of cool. You're not muting me today. No.
I was close. All right, Mike, we'll hit you up with this next question. And this last weekend I had 4 fantasy baseball drafts. And I wanted to know, do you see a correlation between fantasy sports and the sports cards market?
Probably. I'm not a big fantasy sports guy. Just recently got into some of it with Midwest Box Breaks and their partnership with FanDuel. But I could see, you want to keep track of the guys that are playing good, try and, get those guys in your roster for the day. And it's the same way with cards are these days. I mean, it's, instead of looking at the monthly Beckett magazine, you're looking at a website, almost hourly to see what the values are. So yeah, I could see a correlation between the two.
Travis, what do you think? Is there a correlation between fantasy sports, more daily fantasy sports, and the sports cards market? Is that something you follow?
Yeah, I'm huge fantasy for all sports, but I don't know if it directly correlates to it. Like, I would assume, if you're going to have big numbers, whether that be through fantasy or through, just regular, not just watching in fantasy, but regular sports, obviously their name's going to be brought up a lot. But I think where it kind of connects is a lot of the same fantasy players are also collectors, and that's why it looks like that's really cool, like making the connection. But honestly, I think if they're going to get big numbers, whether fantasy's in it or not, then their cards are going to rise also.
That's a great point that, I wanted to make was just, Herbert can go out and have 400 yards, but 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. It's still a great day, but it's not a great fantasy day. Or he can go out and have 100 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, great fantasy day. And not, no one's looking at him on SportsCenter that night. Kelly, what do you think? Is there a correlation between fantasy sports performance and sports cards metrics?
I think there is some. I know at least when I was involved more in fantasy sports, my PC kind of grew a little bit. The guys I have on my team that didn't necessarily collect before that were doing good on my team, and I started to follow them a little more and start to collect some of their cards.
Awesome. Dylan, do you play fantasy sports? What do you think?
I play a little bit of fantasy sports. The only really comparison that I can see between fantasy sports and card collecting is right now the market's where if player A has a massive game, then his cards will rise, and I think that his fantasy stock will rise as well. And so that's really the only comparison I see between the two. Otherwise, there's not really much that I see there is to compare.
Yeah, I may see it more on like Star Stock, something where you buy a Matisse Thybulle for $1 and he has a great game. You sell it for like $1.50 the next day. But I brought up this question in a different show. They're saying, maybe like a Herbert or a Burrow, their stats could just dominate for a season, and that's going to do a meteoric rise like we saw. But a guy like Kevin Durant or, Tom Brady, their cards are set. And, how much are they going to rise on a 40-point game compared to how much, LaMelo Ball is going to rise on a 40-point game. So I think it also has to do with a lot of, different mediums of selling like Star Stock or just, how established the player is already. I like to personally collect baseball. It's my favorite thing to collect. Kelly, we'll start with you on this question because I know you have a lot of Top Series 1 because you sent my kid 21 Jesse Winker cards of Top Series 1. We've seen plenty of Top Series 1 and Heritage on the retail shelves. It's a product you can actually go and find. Are they overproducing these cards, or are the flippers just not buying them because there's not a huge after sale market? Possibly both. What do you think?
I think one actually kind of leads to the other. I think the flippers aren't able to flip it because I think that they are overproducing several of the lines of cards now. At least that's part of my worry, unfortunately. At the other side, though, even when I do see the Tops and the Heritage, within a day or two, it's still all gone.
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of Tops sitting on my shelf back there because I found them on Walmart.com, Target.com. My mom and dad, when they go to Target, they're in their 70s and they find stuff for me, and it's great. Mike, what do you think? Are they overproducing Tops, or is it just available now because people can't resell it? Like I'm sure there's Optic and Prisms just sitting on people's shelves waiting for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think it's bigger thing is the resale or the lack of resale value. I mean, you see the Optic football, the NBA, all that stuff is gone, before it even gets to the shelves. Like Kelly said, I haven't seen much Heritage. I picked up a few hanger boxes last week, which was the day after the store stocked, but Heritage I haven't seen at all. But I think it's just not as big of a resale value as some of the other products.
Yeah, absolutely. When you see the lines at Target and stuff, now they're putting them behind the service desk, 2 per. And, everybody wants the basketball, the Don Russ or the hoops. Then they want the football, the Optic. I saw Prism Hangers with people had them today. I went and checked my Walmart. Nothing was there. But those were also selling for $230 on eBay. That is ridiculous. Travis, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's got to be, obviously it has to be a little bit of both. They definitely are producing it more. I don't know if they're overproducing it yet, but Yeah, Heritage has always been one that sits on the shelf for like all year long. It's never been something everybody's always going for. Series 1, I think, might pick up again. People will start grabbing them again once the year starts and people are playing and you see the rookies that are important. And I think people will start picking up those. Heritage, I think, will still sit there. I don't think it's too much of an issue of an overproduction yet. But yeah, right now there's no resale value on it, so they're just going to sit on shelves. And eventually, as the year goes out, then just like Series 1 last year, eventually will start getting picked up and then people will be, holding them or overselling them again because Series 1's expensive now.
So Travis, if I've got 2 hobby boxes and 6 megas on my shelf back there, should I sell those now, rip them now, or wait a year and sell them then?
Well, you see what the rookie class is, right? Like last year, our rookie class was stacked for Series 1, just stacked. Definitely don't sell them now because you're not going to make any money. I would either rip them just because for the fun of it, why not? Or hold them because, yeah, we want to see what this rookie class is. Like, remember when we went through our Series 1 from last year to find our Kyle Lewis's? Nobody was pulling Kyle Lewis and setting him aside when we started opening those packs. I mean, I sure as heck wasn't. It wasn't until halfway through the year, when we saw Kyle Lewis was going to be our rookie of the year or close to it, and that's when we started opening them up. So
awesome. That was the answer I was hoping to hear from somebody. That and Randy Arena. Like, that's kind of why I hit you with the follow-up. Dylan, have you been able to find any retail, or what's your opinion on this?
Well, I can't hunt for retail, one. COVID limitation. But to Travis's point, I don't look at guys like in Series 1 last year, like Aquino, and I'm missing one. But like guys like that anticipated that they would just have breakout years and their cards sold for a lot of money. They tanked. And so I don't know who that rookie's going to be in Series 1. But that's why I don't really think the resale value, and that's why I think it's still on the shelves, is because these rookies haven't defined themselves yet. They haven't done anything yet. As soon as opening day starts and we kind of start seeing what baseball's like, baseball wave's going to come and market's going to flood. Heritage, I think that top to put Heritage and Untitled, they are very similar.
Oh, super close to getting you muted, man. That's the fun part, Dylan. So one question I emailed you guys just a little bit ago, because we had huge news came out that PSA is temporarily suspending their submissions through July, except for the huge stuff. And I'm kind of mad because I have this whole stack right here that I've just been waiting for 3 other people to send me some cards so I could submit. And of course, now I can't submit this stack because, well, they're suspending basically everything but a $300 submission through July. What are your thoughts on this? Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Does it affect you? Do you even submit? Do you care? Travis, go ahead. Let us know what your thoughts.
I don't submit that much. I'm definitely starting to do it more this year. At least I was going to start doing it more this year till this happened. I did submit the HGA earlier in the year. That was a lot easier, simpler, got it quicker. Sold it for a pretty good amount of money at the time too. But obviously they've messed up a lot. Their higher-ups, whoever who's running that company, is just taking it to the ground. So this is kind of frustrating because I really wanted to start submitting into PSA, and I was okay with letting them sit. At this point, I'm sitting in the issue where I will sell my cards because I don't want to wait for the grades for these slabs to come back. So I'm literally just selling raw cards, and I think at this point I just need to submit a big stack and just leave them there and forget about them, and then see what happens when they finally do get them back. But yeah, it's frustrating because I really wanted to get in on it.
Yeah, man, I have 144 cards sitting there right now. And, they said the regular is supposed to have been through like January. I got a regular sitting there from November. So the through dates aren't accurate. It's extremely frustrating as well. But, like you said, I'd rather have my cards sitting there to get graded than selling them raw. Like I have all my Series 1 high-end rookie, high-end, the guys I think are going to be sweet, just sitting in that stack. That, now is it going to be, am I going to wait to July at the All-Star break and see if they're good? Like, am I going to pull my Kyle Lewis from the other stack and put him in there? Am I going to pull guys out of that? Or am I just going to sell them raw and get $4 or $5 per card? Like, I don't know. Mike, what are your thoughts? Does PSA matter to you at all, or submissions? You going to go to SGC or HGA or?
I've only got 2 cards that I've got 4 cards I've submitted. 2 of them are at HGA. I've got 2 more that I want to send in to HGA. For me, the slabs don't matter. I have some in my collection that I picked up from people, but I don't rely on the grading process to get value out. So I look at it as probably a good thing. I think PSA has finally realized they're backed up and there's only one way to get caught up, and that's to slow down on things. And I think that's one reason HGA is probably succeeding, is because they're limiting what they're taking in.
That's a great point on the limiting. See, my worry with PSA is come July or whenever they roll out these tiers, like I've got these cards, I'm just going to keep adding to these stacks and I'm just a small fish. What about these guys who are submitting 30,000 cards at a time? They're just building up their submissions to just flood it again then. And so it's just going to be flooded again and again and again. And that's what I think is they'll catch up just to fall back behind. Kelly, what are your thoughts? Is PSA, does this matter to you at all, this news that came out today?
It doesn't matter to me at all. I don't submit cards at all. I think it's something that really had to happen for them. If they don't stop what they're doing and get caught up, then they're going to start putting more pressure on the people. The quality isn't going to be there, and that's going to cause more issues down the road for them if they're not producing a quality product. At the same time, I think that with younger collectors, I think that HGA is going to come along and going to take a bigger chunk of the market because they're going to like the less boring looking slabs and the more cool color looking slabs that they're producing now.
Excellent point, man. The HGA has just gotten themselves in trouble and shot themselves in the foot over and over. But it is the appeal of what it looks like to the newer generation of the collectors. You know, I personally like the SGC tuxedos just for like my PC. I like how the black ones look. The value obviously right now is in PSA and BGS, but HGA and CSG are quickly catching up to them. And I think that this is their opportunity from here to July to really show that they can come out with a quality product, quality actual grading and not, subjective or there's no way that's a 10. How is that a 10? Oh my goodness, I can't believe this. Or even the faux pas where they put, the guy's art on their slab. And then did we pay this guy? Do we have the rights to this guy? You should probably know that first. So Dylan, what are your thoughts on grading, PSA, anything? Let us know.
I have never submitted a card and quite frankly, I've never really had a card worth grading in my opinion. I'm not really going to send in my $5 Boba Fett rookie to get graded.
You should.
I should. I don't really want to pay $30 to get it graded. The thing I'm interested in is there's so many Jordans, Job, Zion, so many good hobby buys right now at PSA. And what I want to know is that if PSA can catch up, what would their markets be like? Because everyone's sending Jordans to get graded. So what will the Jordan market look like after 20,000 PSA cards come back? Will it continue to go up or will it go down because the market will be flooded? For HGA, if they create a label with rights from the artist with moose antlers on it, I'll gladly submit a moose card, Mike Moustakis card for them. Put moose antlers on the logo. Glad.
Put moose antlers on the logo. That is great. All right, so we're going to go here with the buy-sell lightning round. So everybody got about 10 seconds to answer kind of just yes, no, brief explanation why, and we'll get it going. We'll go in the order. We'll go Travis, Dylan, Mike, and Kelly. So Travis, Tua is the man for the Dolphins. You buying or you selling?
So I don't think Tua is going to be – I think he's a backup quarterback, career backup quarterback. I don't think he's got what it takes. And – he's got a good coaching staff over there right now too. That's the crazy part. So it's not like it's Adam Gase stunning him. He's got a good staff over there. So I just don't think he's going to be all that. They need to look for help elsewhere.
Dylan, is Tua the man for the Dolphins? Buy or sell?
I do not think he's the man for the Dolphins. Like Trav said, I think he's been overhyped since he brought Alabama back to the championship game. I don't really see him doing much in the NFL. Especially in the AFC.
Mike, buy or sell? Tua is the man for the Dolphins.
I'd like to say buy because from a hobby perspective, out of the big three, I've been more of a Tua magnet than any else. But sell. I don't see him being the long-term starter.
Kelly, you buying or selling Tua?
I'm buying. They believe he's their quarterback of the future. Otherwise, they wouldn't have traded the number 3 pick. They traded down and back up again. They're going to get the same guy they wanted at 3. They're going to give it 6 now, whether it's the tackle to protect him or a weapon for him for the future.
Kelly just takes the lead on points because finally it's what the Dolphins think. The Dolphins think Tua is the man, or they wouldn't have traded away because they'll have. I mean, they could have their pick of, I assume,
Max.
Trevor Lawrence is going 1. It's either Wilson or Fields going 2. So they could have. Did you know Mac Jones' name is McCorkle? It just sounds like a guy named McCorkle should play for the Patriots. I'm just saying, right? All right, so Travis, the Nets are now the NBA favorites to win the title. Buying or selling?
Buy. Let's go buy. I'm hoping so at least. I want Harden to win that championship. Again, it's going to be super difficult because LeBron, it's always hard to bet against LeBron. But based on star power right there, I mean, with Harden, Durant, Irving, they have no defense, but they have all the offense. So basically, their defense is going to be scoring more than the other team. That's going to be their entire game plan every single game. If something happens to one of them, they're done. But I think the same set can be said for the Lakers. So if like one of those guys goes down, it's the same situation. And both of them are down right now. So we'll see.
I almost think your analogy is just like the Patriots and Tampa. Like, how do you bet against Tom Brady, even though the other team is maybe more talented? How do you bet against LeBron? I don't know. Dylan, what are your thoughts? The Nets are the favorite to win the title.
The Nets will rule the East, but I think Nuggets, Jazz, Lakers in the West. I want to see what the playoffs will look like because if LeBron or AD gets hurt, the Lakers are severely wounded, and I think that. Yes, the Nets are stacked. Yes, the Nets have way too much money to spend, but they can be beaten, and I think a defensive team like the Jazz might be able to pull it off a little.
Mike, let us know your thoughts. You buying or selling? Nets are the favorites.
I'm going to go buy. There's certain players that, I hope they win a title just so they'll retire. The first one that I came along with, here's where I lose some points, was John Elway. And then he came back and won a second. But I hope Harden can get his title and get out of the league. So I'll say bye.
All right. Kelly, waking back up from a snooze over there. I'm just teasing with you, man. What are you buying or selling? Nets are the NBA favorites.
I'm selling. The title still goes to Lakers. LeBron, they just picked up Andre Drummond, who's a double-double machine, helps them on the defensive end. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. And at some point, Kyrie's going to go Kyrie.
Is Kyrie going Kyrie a good thing? Like he's going to hit a 3 and come back from 3-1 and make me cry as a grown man because the Cavs just won? Or is he going to go Kyrie like the earth is flat Kyrie?
He's going to, the earth is flat Kyrie. I'm taking a week off for my birthday, Kyrie.
Okay, I was just checking because he can go all Kyrie and 3-1 right over hit that 3 on you too. So, Travis said, Travis, are we looking at a Chiefs Buccaneers repeat in the Super Bowl next year? You buying or selling?
Selling. Tom Brady, obviously we say it every single year. This is it. Tom Brady can't do it. But honestly, I think next year finally is the year that he cannot do it. I think the Rams are the team to beat in the NFC right now. The Matt Stafford edition is huge, like as far over Jared Goff. It's just too much. And then there's always Aaron Rodgers there still also so you have to worry about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and he's got to get through possibly the Rams. So I think the Rams are the best team in the NFC right now as far as for next year. We'll see how it goes and how it plays out, obviously. But I think Stafford is a major upgrade, and I think it'll be Rams, Chiefs for sure.
Right. And also, just how hard is it to make it back to back?
Mm-hmm.
And then have two teams do it. I mean, you got two amazing teams who can't do it, but just the sheer statistics say no way. Dylan, you're a Chiefs fan. Let us know.
I think the Chiefs really need to fix their offensive line either through draft or some trades. It is not great at the moment. It can get a lot better. I think the Bucs, yes, they're good. Packers are good. Rams have such a good defense that if they get to the Super Bowl, they can really be a contender, even a play. If Matthew Stafford is healthy, they could be a good team. But I look at the Bills. I mean, if the Bills can contend with the Chiefs, Bills, Buccaneers, Bills, Rams, Bills, Chiefs, Rams, whoever, I think it'll be the AFC will win the Super Bowl again and again.
Mike, what are your thoughts? You're a Chiefs fan. Chiefs, Bucks running it back.
So like Moose, I'm worried about the Bills. Chiefs are working on their offensive line, but it was obvious in the Super Bowl that where their struggles are. They had 2 starters out, so that hard to come back from. But the Bills gave them a game, and I think Josh Allen's just going to get better. So I'm worried about the Bills on the NFC side. The Packers and the 3 teams: Packers, Rams, Bucks. Those, we'll just let them fight it out and see who gets there.
All right. And Kelly, are your Detroit Lions making it, or what's happening? Is it going to be the Chiefs and the Bucks?
Not my Detroit Lions, my friend. I'm a Tampa Bay fan. I've become a Brady fan. But no, they're not. Neither one teams. I'm selling on both of these for a lot of the same reasons all these guys mentioned. It's too hard to get back from year to year. There's too much good talent in the AFC this year. Josh Allen and Steph Diggs, I think, are going to be there. Stafford is definitely a huge upgrade for the Rams with that defense. That's my pick also for those 2 teams to wind up in the Super Bowl. As much as I like Brady, this year going to be the year that it's all going to be over because there's just too much of the competition.
Yeah, I'm going Broncos Packers. So no, I'm not. Final Four is going to be settled tonight and tomorrow. We've got some games going on. Looks like Gonzaga is just rolling everybody. Travis, who do you got cutting down the Nets next Monday?
I don't follow college basketball too much, but if I had to go off it just based on what I've watched so far this year, it's got to be Gonzaga, right? I mean, it'd be crazy to go against them. I'd love Houston to see Houston do it. That's where Hakeem Olajuwon came out from. So, but I'm thinking it's going to be Gonzaga. It'd be crazy to bet against them, I think.
Dylan, what do you think? Who's cutting down the Nets next week?
As much as I want to say Baylor because they were so good for like 3/4 of the year, it's going to be Gonzaga. Baylor been so hurt by COVID. I think they missed they had to have 10 games scheduled because of COVID. I think and Gonzaga, well, they've got the most talent in basketball right now. They're a really, really good team. And they can out-rebound you, outscore you, out-defend you. It's Gonzaga. No.
Absolutely. Gonzaga just has to look like the best team right now. Mike, what are your thoughts?
I'd like to see Michigan do it. I remember watching the Fab Five and the timeout that they didn't have that caused them a technical foul. I mean, I'd love to see Juwan Howard just getting a title at his alma mater, but Zags look way too tough.
Yeah, they just won by 19 over USC. Michigan plays here in a little bit. Kelly, who's cutting down the Nets?
As much as I like Michigan, I'm a big Juwan Howard fan. Nobody's stopping the Zag train. They score more points than anybody else, 8 points a game more. Who's second left in the tournament. They're unselfish. They're second in assists. They win without shooting the 3. They lead the tournament in field goal percentage, and they're second in defense rebounding. Nobody's stopping that train.
I feel about Gonzaga, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. How many times they've been there but not gotten there? That's the only reason I'm not taking them. I'm going with Michigan, but it's every team who's left hasn't been there recently. There's no Duke, no Kentucky, no North Carolina, no Villanova, no Butler, even none of the big teams that you always see at the end. And so I'm actually at the beginning, I picked Michigan, and that's who I'm rolling with. So, Mr. Houston Astros fan, opening day is Thursday. I'm going with my dad and my daughter to the Reds game. Are you excited for baseball season? You buying or selling? It's going to be a good year. We're going to get through the year.
Oh, heck yes. I'm so ready for season to start. Last year was such a bad year for sports, period. And baseball, only not all sports, but baseball included. That was miserable because baseball is my favorite sport. And the fact that, we only got 50 games, none of it felt real. The Astros never got their actual, their welcoming tour from every stadium. I want to get that over with. I wish we would have gotten that over with last year. Let's get booed and screamed at last year so we can have a real season this year. I'm so stoked to finally get that over with so we can move on. That's what I'm ready for.
Dylan, Moustakas is moving over to third. I'm going to see him on Thursday. I'll tell him you said, what's up? You excited for the season? You buying or selling? It's going to be a good year.
For the Reds, probably going to be mediocre at best, maybe a little bit above 500. The Royals, however, I think they probably will be third in the AL Central. They will obviously beat Kelly's Tigers. I don't know. I'm just not happy because I cannot watch any baseball on any of the TV networks we have now because Fox Sports is greedy and MLB is greedy, and I can't watch baseball this year, so that's kind of sad.
We need to find you some streams, so we'll work on that in our Cardboard Connection group because we got to find you some streams.
YouTube TV, frustrating.
Mike, opening day's Thursday. You excited?
A lot more excited this year than in the past. Just being in the hobby. I rejoined the hobby about this time last year. I'm a Braves fan, but I didn't know the day I decided to rejoin the hobby who Acuna was or who Albies was. So looking forward to it more this year. Also met a lot of people. There's a lot of folks in our Midwest Box Bakes group from the Omaha, kind of Kansas City area. So we've already talked about getting together for some Storm Chaser games and some Royals games. So obviously still want people to get your vaccine, keep your mask on so that we all can get together and at least do some elbow bumps this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Kelly and I have already discussed, trips down to Cincinnati, visit with Che or Tyler Liddy's out there. We're all Reds fans. Like I told him, I can't wait to buy him a $14 Budweiser. So Kelly, opening day's Thursday. You excited?
I'm very excited. I was excited going into last year. Lots of young kids in Detroit coming up, and I wanted to see more than 50 games of them. I want to see how they play for a full season, see which guys are really going to be here for the long term. There's got to be some cornerstone pieces on this team right now. I want to see them identify which ones they are. Plus, the ballpark's a favorite place to hang out.
And the next question, I should have just went with both of them in a row. Rookie mistakes here, but who is your team and what's your preview of the season? You guys gonna make the playoffs in Houston there, Travis?
Oh yes, our division's garbage. I'm pretty sure we'll be fine. You got the A's to worry about. They're always there, they're just always there. Angels, nope, not happening, I don't think. And then the Mariners, they're going to be at the bottom, I'm sure. But a lot of people are sleeping on the Astros because of the cheating scandal. Even though they didn't play great last year during the regular season, they picked it up in the playoffs, played great. And I think that this is going to be – I think they're going to win their division, and I think they're going to surprise people, and I think they may even get up to the World Series. Don't call me crazy. They don't need Verlander, but they are definitely contenders. 100%. I got them as contenders this year.
All right, Dylan, who actually is your team and how are they going to do?
My team is the Royals. My player is Moustakis. The Royals will be a 500 team, and the Reds will be a 500 team. I think that the Royals will have decent pitching and decent they'll be decent at the plate. However,
Dylan got muted because no one cares about the Royals, and he told me I wouldn't mute him. I'm just kidding, man. Unmuted. Go ahead, buddy.
Problem is that the White Sox in the division, and we're not going to pass the White Sox. We're not getting past the win. And we're the Royals, so we're going to have an 0-20 start to the year.
All right, all good points. Mike, who's your squad and how are they going to do?
So I mentioned a Braves fan. I think some of the youth is probably showed up in postseason last year. Lack of pitching showed up. So if they can keep their pitching rotation strong, then it'll be another far run in the playoffs. I'm predicting they sweep right through the division series and the championship series and the World Series, and no losses in the postseason.
But as you can see, Bellinger is better than Acuna, who is better than Soto. So I just to me, it's the Dodgers have just the best team. They have a whole historically good pitching staff. I think it's the Dodgers to lose. Just my opinion. I'm a Reds fan. We'll get to that later. Kelly, tell us about your Detroit Tigers.
Well, like I said, it's a lot about the kids this year and seeing what the kids are going to provide. But the big part of the year for me is Miggy. He's playing the field this year. He's going to be a bigger part of the team. I think he's going to be much more productive this year. He's 13 home runs away from 500. He's 134 hits away from 3,000. Big stuff for them this year. And I'm hoping that the team will compete for 500 with your Reds and Moose's Royals.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up those stats about Miggy because I was going to try to Google them real quick because I knew he was really close to 2 milestones. So that's awesome. Travis, I know you said that you pull packs and you do stuff on YouTube. For me, like I have Gold Line Cards as an LLC. It's an actual business. I am a collector. I've got PCs. I've got just cards everywhere. I've shown, I hide behind nothing in what I do. I collect and I do run a business. But to me, the hobby's more of a fun thing to do. But I make money doing it also and enjoy it. And people like to hate on that the investors, I'll never be an investor. But, is it possible to navigate the hobby as a collector, as a business, and as both? And how do you do it?
Yeah, you can. And yes, it can be overwhelming it's
absolutely it's overwhelming.
The every day when I come home from work, because I work a full-time job too, I have to come home and then I film and then I edit and then I upload, and it's just you're working at 6 o'clock in the morning up until like 9 o'clock at night doing this stuff. So what I've been able to do recently is I've switched it up and I started something on my channel where I just do Sporkle quizzes. They're easy to edit. They're a lot of fun to do. And then I just upload them on my channel, and that's a video for the day. I've done that Tuesdays and Thursdays. I love doing that stuff. But and I think it's really helped me enjoy doing what I'm doing a little bit more as far as the opening. And then I have to sell because I got to make some of my money back, right? So I got to sell some of the cards I open and all that stuff. So yeah, it's hard. It's just overwhelming.
Absolutely, man. I'm married. I have 2 small kids. I work a full-time job. My wife and I had to come up with like a hobby hours schedule because I was just taking too much time away from my family. And, Dylan, I've sent consignment cards to him because I just don't have time to sell everything. I started a website. Chris Vargos here in the comments. I made my first sale on my website to him and just trying to get things more started as a brand and then starting to sell. And Mike, I got the room in the Midwest Box Break Discord and selling, making money in there like nobody's business because we got 60 sellers and like 14,000 people allowed in now. So that's just incredible luxury to have for me. So Dylan, I know you're a bit young to have a business, but you're also doing 10 times the amount of things I did at your age and probably more than I'm doing at my age. But you have the time, like you're taking in consignments, and I'm one of the people, I believe Kelly was one of the people too. I'm sending you cards to sell, and then you're keeping some of the money and giving me some because I just don't have the time. Like, so how's it working for you?
Yeah, I think that the hobby can be both collecting and a business. Thanks to virtual school, I've had a lot of time to do card stuff during the week and started doing consignments. And Kelly was actually my first customer. Big props to him. But yeah, spend my free time selling cards, and it's kind of paying for other stuff. It's paying for more cards. I'm putting money toward a car, so that would be awesome. But it can be a business, and it can definitely be collecting because you got to have funds for this hobby. The hobby's not getting any cheaper, and to get those funds, you got to sell what you have.
Awesome. And you both brought up excellent points that you got to have fun with what you're doing. If you're not having fun, what are you doing? Mike, are you having fun? What's your story over there?
Absolutely. It's been a blast getting back in the hobby. For me, I'm not a big spender from a dollar perspective, so I look to add value other ways, whether that's sending racks out or jumping into somebody else's stream and commenting or retweeting. The big thing lately is I'm a moderator within the original Midwest Box Breaks Discord group, and then I'm also an admin in the Discord hobby shop, and that's supporting those 60 sellers that in 5 weeks have sold 75 grand worth of cards.
That's amazing,
and that's all time that I give because that's how I can add value to those people, and that's how I can add value to the hobby. So for me,
that's awesome, Mike.
Fun. It's all about fun.
That's just awesome. All of us appreciate it. Ben appreciates it too. And I know when I first got a room, I had no idea how to use Discord. Like Vito had one that I used every once in a while. I'm in the Buck City Breaks one, but I don't ever use those things. I've been more active in, that Discord than I have in any other one over the last 3 weeks. And it was mainly help from you trying to, walk me through it. And, that's much appreciated. Kelly, I know you fund your cards because you're one of my best friends and we talk pretty much every single day. I'll get about 2 o'clock. I'll get a message saying, "Hey, happy Tuesday, my friend. How you doing today?" Or, every couple of weeks we get a card in the mail addressed to the kids or something. And so I know for you, it's the people, but you also sell a ton of cards. What's your story? You're running a business. You're just collecting. How do you roll with Kelly's cards?
I've been a lifelong collector on and off, but wanting it as a side business has always been a part of the dream, and that hasn't changed as I've gotten older. Someday I'm not going to work a full-time job anymore. And when I'm not working a full-time job, I want this to be my part-time job. They keep me, or my hobby still, to keep me going once I'm done working a regular job. I think you can do both. I think that with the value of cards now, I think it blurs it. The blurs the difference between the hobby and do I want to get this on PC or should I sell it because it's worth so much more money now? And where before it was always, this is a cool card that goes into my PC. That part I think has changed a lot, but the business part is a lot more interesting. There's a lot more platforms now to try to sell and make money on.
Absolutely.
Whereas before, it was going to card shows and try to sell at card shows. Although I really do wish that trading would come back a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we are running kind of late, so if anybody needs to drop off, we're about 10 minutes past. We have 2 questions left. So if anyone has time constraints, no worries. Just let me know, and we'll say thank you. Have a good night. But if we're all good, we'll just continue on. And Dylan, we'll start with you on this one. Is who's going to be the hobby MVP for baseball of 2021? Like if I'm buying a card right now, whose return on interest is going to be maximum profits come September?
Oh man, I'm gonna say Brian Hayes and Bo Bichette. I feel like those 2 guys are kind of undervalued right now. Brian Hayes will go crazy as soon as the Series 2 rookie card drops. And I think that Bo Bichette, for what he will produce, hopefully, is undervalued at this point. His Stadium Club card, which I think is probably the most beautiful Bo Bichette card there is like $3. That's a deal. I'd pick up him. And Keston Hiura, he's kind of a dark horse in this. Not a lot of people have invested in his stuff. And I wouldn't invest in Keston Hiura, but maybe pick up a few flagship. The dude can hit. Like, after watching the Brewers with Moustakis, I think that Keston will be a decent dark horse pickup.
Awesome. And yeah, that card I sold to Chris was a Bo Bichette PSA 9. And then immediately I went on eBay to check, comps. Because I had that sitting on my website for like a month and a half, and I had no idea if it was a good price. I sold it. And I saw cards from $15 to $35. I bought like 6 of them last night. And then, PSA 10s are almost $100 right now. So I definitely agree there. Mike, who do you think? Who's going to be the baseball hobby MVP? Whose card should I go right after the show on the eBay or the Discord and buy right after this?
I think Ohtani's going to be one. I think he's had a good spring. Certainly, obviously an all-around player. I'm hoping for Gavin Lux. That's another guy that I don't necessarily PC him, but I have a few of his in my collection. And I'll mention Alec Bohm just from a personal perspective.
And Alec Bohm, you said?
Bohm's a local kid. He's from the town next to me. So, obviously local kids I want to see doing well.
All right, Travis, who do you think?
So if we're going off of last year's sets, as far as some of the rookies that are undervalued, Jordan's pretty low right now. He's dropped quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so he's kind of low. I would put him there. And then before that, like 2019, there's some great rookies that I think are going to see huge jumps. Jeff McNeil is one of the most underrated players in the hobby right now. He's really, really good. And I think this year, hopefully, people will start to take notice, especially if the Mets can win that division. It all depends. I mean, every fight with the Braves is going to be tight, but they're a close one. And then the other one would be Kyle Tucker. I mean, of course, Kyle Tucker is super underrated also, and that guy can mash. I think he's going to be huge. I think he's going to get MVP votes this year. Maybe because he's not part of the cheating Astros. He's a new wave of the Astros. I think Kyle Tucker, Jeff McNeil from 2019 class for sure are people to keep an eye on.
Kelly, round us out. Who's the 2021 hobby MVP?
Well, I hope Dylan's kind of right with Bo Bichette because I'm a big fan of him also. But I actually think that we're going to run it back from last year. I think it's going to be this guy again. This year, I think that the lineup that he's in is going to be the best lineup in the American League. Even with Eloy getting hurt, more production is going to follow to him in this year. And they play in a very weak division where they're going to dominate. He's going to put up monster numbers. Doesn't matter what his cards right now. This is the guy again this year.
Yeah, I was all excited to say Eloy Jimenez was because he is so underappreciated. Same with Trent Grisham and Tim Anderson, and even Gavin Lux, because they're buried under talent on their team, but they are extremely talented people. I've got like 4 Chrome PSA 10s, and then he goes down for 5 to 6, or now it says 4 to 5 months. But he was my answer. But I'm going to go back with Cody Bellinger, who's 2 years removed from an MVP season. Had a little down year, but he's still on one of the most talented rosters, and you're going to have to throw to him because you can't pitch around him. So, all right, we got one question left, and then we're going to pick a winner. And after that, the winner gets 1 minute of uninterrupted time to talk about anything they want. So we got the NFL draft coming up, and they're projecting possible 5 quarterbacks in the first round, including McCorkle Jones. So if you didn't know that Mac Jones' first name, it is McCorkle, and I learned that today. Rumors are swirling all about where they're going to go. It's heavily known Trevor Lawrence is going to go 1, but could go any other order. Which order do you think they get drafted in? Kelly, we'll start with you.
Well, I think Trevor's going to go number 1, and I believe that Mr. Zach Wilson will go to number 2 with the Jets. McCorkle's going to go 3. Carolina's going to trade up number 4, and they're going to take Justin Fields. Poor Mr. Trey Lance is going to fall. He's not going to go until Denver's going to have a tough choice to make. Is Elway going to take a quarterback to compete with Drew Lock, or is he going to slide past there? Because Elway's not going to trade up, and Bill doesn't trade up to get a quarterback, so he's going to fall. He could wind up in either Denver or New England.
Well, that's cool because Elway's not making a decision anymore. It's up to George Patton. So I don't know. Elway still might have the trigger, but George Patton's the new GM. Mike, what do you think? What order do you got everybody going in for the NFL draft?
So, yeah, obviously Trevor first. I haven't followed the draft as close this year, but I think the Zach Wilson that was mentioned, 2 or 3. I mean, it sounds like his pro day was a pretty good day, so I think that'll put him up there on top of the list. Fields, I just see him kind of following in the history of OSU quarterbacks, so I wouldn't put a lot of faith in Fields.
All right, Travis, what do you think? I obviously think you're going to say Lawrence is going 1. It's not necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but which order do you think they'll be drafted in?
Lawrence 1. We got Zach Wilson 2. I think that's almost guaranteed. It's like Zach Wilson 2, but I think it's Fields going to the Niners at 3. I mean, I think that's why they traded up to get Fields. Lyles is going to go as the next quarterback off the board. And then Mac Jones is down way at the end of he'll probably be like the 8th pick or something, but he's like tiers below, I think, in that talent of all the other quarterbacks in this draft, or at least those top 5. So, yeah, it'll be Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, Lyles, and then Mac Jones at the bottom.
All right, Dylan, round us out.
Lawrence will go 1. Field, Jones, and Wilson for me, they're all a toss-up. I think that Zach Wilson is probably the best QB out of the 3 of them, but he didn't. I guess he didn't really play like Jones and Fields, but McCorkle and Fields, they both had 5-star, like 99 overall wide receivers around, right? And if they go to the NFL, let's say to a team like the Jets, where they have Braxton Berrios as their number 1 wide receiver to throw to, how good are they now? I don't think Trey Lance. I get he's D2, and I get the D2 schools don't get love, but I don't really see Trey Lance doing too much for a team without wide receivers. But my list would have to be Lawrence, Fields, Jones, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance.
Yeah, man, you made a great point that Mac Jones is playing with 2 top 10 wide receivers. I mean, I know that one of them was hurt all year, but he had him last year, and he's got a beast as a running back. And it's the whole Alabama quarterback situation because you're playing basically with 7 or 8 NFL guys on your team already that just make you better. And living in Columbus, Ohio, I've seen Justin Fields he's not that good. I didn't really watch a lot of Zach Wilson, but I've seen what I've read about him recently. So I think it goes, Lawrence, Wilson. Then I think people like Fields, so he'll go next. Trey Lance, and then Mac Jones. That's just the order I think it goes in. It's my personal opinion. And Dylan, you almost came back there at the end for the win, but Travis, we're going with you for the victory tonight. So I'm going to chit chat for about another 10 seconds until I can get an awesome timer. Then I'll give you a full minute to talk about anything you want. Promote your YouTube channel, talk about cheating Astros or non-cheating Astros, or stadium tours, the Houston Rockets, Akeem Olajuwon, whatever you want. Travis, you got 1 minute. Go.
So yeah, Travis Packpulls. I literally just go on there and I open random stuff that I find or that I buy at the store. It's nothing too crazy. I don't get like expensive hobby boxes or anything like that because I ain't got that kind of money. I do have a wife and 2 kids as well. But that's all I'm going to say about the channel. A couple other things. I know the Astros cheated. I'm in the agreement with everybody else. Yes, they cheated. All right, it's time to get over it and move on. And let's get to the games. You guys can do whatever you want to them. Boo them, yell at them. Don't throw stuff at them. Don't spit on them, especially this time. But they need to take their punches. They just need to get hit. Like, they need to just take their beatings after what happened, and then they can move on. And hopefully we can get past this. And then all of the Astros that were there for 2017 will be gone soon enough. Altuve can leave. I don't care. Correa can leave. I don't like those guys anyways. But just respect the new guys that are coming in, Alvarez and Kyle Tucker, the guys that weren't a part of that and are young and trying to be, great players. And hopefully they don't get heckled too much and we can have a decent season. I'm excited for that. I just want to see these young guys grow. And so, yeah. And Springer better get his punches over in Toronto also, all right? Just don't forget about him because he's a Blue Jay now, all right? He was still here. So he needs his punches in Toronto as well.
Awesome. I love how we round that out. So I want to thank you guys very much for coming on. Something new that we've been doing last couple of weeks. If you guys have time, we'll go play the outro. Then we just kind of sit around and chit chat till you got to drop off. Normally I got to dip at 9 because it's my kid's bedtime, but obviously we started at 9. So she's already in bed. So Mike, Kelly, Travis, Dylan, just want to thank you guys for jumping on the show tonight. Travis, congratulations on the win. Going to go ahead and play the outro. And if you guys got some time for a little encore, just chit chat, interaction, we'll go ahead and do that. If you got to jump off, well then thanks for being here. So for Gold Line, all right. Remember, we still are live, and we do have still 10 people watching. But I thought that was kind of. Did you guys enjoy that, or what's going on over there?
I had a blast.
It's cool. Mm-hmm. It's nice getting to talk hobby. Most of my friends are football fans, and that's it. They don't do basketball. They don't do baseball. That's my normal crew. So getting to talk sports or hobby, which has been what a lot of Twitter has been lately, especially this last year, has been a really nice event.
Yeah, this was awesome. I know all of you guys are, well, Mike, I just recently got to know you pretty well. And Travis, I really don't interact with you at all. But Dylan and Kelly, we chat all the time. So it's always nice to put, a face with a name and be able to interact more with people. And finally, Kelly decides he's going to jump on after wanting to do it for months. So did you have a good time, Kelly? You going to come back?
I did. I had a lot of fun. Appreciate you inviting me on. It was a good time.
I'm kind of disappointed that I wasn't the first person to win 2 straight around hobbies, or at least be the first 2-time champ. But I'm also disappointed that I forgot to mention Chip and Joe. They weren't really in addition to the first round. I've got 2 adopted moose. Didn't mention this.
Hey, Dylan, are you talking about your adopted kids?
Yep. Pip. And Joe.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about your adopted kids, Dylan, for those of us who don't know? What happened to get you these adopted kids?
Don't know. They are not human kids, for those of you that have really, really weird assumptions right now. Quit worrying, okay? Some people in the hobby, Gold Line, Kelly, people that help, Brian. they raised money to literally adopt 2 moose for me. So one day, in the
We adopted mooses for him.
Oh, that's awesome.
No joke. I opened the mailbox and it's like Alaskan Wildlife Center. I'm like, what is this? Did I get like a free cruise? No, I didn't. I got 2 moose, Pip and Joe. Real names are Pippi Longstocking and Josephine March, shortened into Pip and Joe. I'm trying to contact the wildlife center to see if I can send them a card just so they can like on it or something. Maybe like a picture card. I think that'd be pretty cool. I guess if I ever go to Alaska, I'll go meet Pip and Joe. I guess that's gonna be on my bucket.
Dylan, I got to tell you that, Che and I started off by just sending people some Uber Eats cards and stuff and whatever. Then Josh and Kelly said, hey, we got to start sending some different stuff to people. And Ryan was the one who came up with the idea like, hey, so what do you think about doing this? So he hits me up in the DMs like, what do you think about doing this for Dylan? Because, just something, not card related, just off the blocks, just something just far out there. What can we do? And he sends me this link. He's like, well, we got to make sure it's like a one-time thing so you're not stuck with like a monthly donation or something like that. And I'm like, dude, this is incredible. So he set all of that up. It was all Ryan, and we just all donated to it. So I'm not sure if you knew who was the head of that, but that was Ryan. That was awesome.
So I approve of the move.
It was Ryan, Goldline, Chuck, Jamie, Kevin, and Kelly. Still got the thank you note right here.
Awesome. So, Mike, I know you said you do a lot of stuff with.
It's like HGA 9.5, beautiful little moose trading card that has stats. If you guys are wondering, adult moose weigh in between 800 and 1,300 pounds. There you go.
I will donate money for you to send that in for grading. I did not know that was a card.
Get slabbed.
Yeah, it has some lighting up in the back, so probably like a PSA 7, maybe an 8.
Talk to that guys. It'll be a PSA 10.
You know what? I'll try HGA. Maybe HGA moose antlers on this thing. I mean, it's not.
I don't know, man. It looked pretty good in a tuxedo.
Yeah, there you go.
A moose in a tuxedo.
I mean, if the label really says Alaskan Wildlife Conservation Center moose, I think I would send it in to get it graded. I just don't want it being sent to anything returning it to me saying it's miscut or not a. That's strange to me.
Email customer service, man.
Yeah, that'd be a great email. Yep. Hey, PSA. I know 1,000 people are trying to email you right now, but listen to me. I have this card of a moose. It's a random, not a specific moose, but I need it slabbed now.
So should I just get this one slab too? Because I mean, come on now.
Yeah. I mean,
I got to get this encapsulated, right?
Someone
got to get a new one this year. Cooper's birthday is in a week and a half.
Like my basketball rookie card when I was in like 3rd grade. I'll send one of those in too. Had like no hair. Really fun.
That's awesome. So Mike, I wanted to hear a little bit more about your stuff that you do with the Discord. I know I see you guys make comments, and then to me it's like I gotta search back like 50 different comments and see what someone says in there, and then people are replying to other people. Like, how on earth do you keep up with everything? I know Ben's always like, oh, we couldn't do this without the admins and the moderators. And I see all the work you guys do, and it's like, I don't want to do that. That seems like it's so much work and so much hassle that like I'm almost overwhelmed as just a person in there. And I have a selling, wall. Imagine being a buyer or just a random person. It just seems like it'd be completely overwhelming. How do you keep everything organized, and how do you just keep from going like crazy, I guess?
Well, I don't keep from going crazy. I think I am crazy, but first thing, when I first joined Discord last June, and that was the Break Club Discord, I figured out pretty quick I needed to know how to deal with the notifications.
Dude, that drives me nuts when my notifications boom, 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 boom all day long.
And the first time I joined, it was after a break night, so it was probably 9:30 when I joined Discord, and I went to bed right away. So I'm sitting there trying to lay in bed, and my phone's just buzzing. So for me, for my notification setting, I I get most notifications, but I don't have sound, so it doesn't make the sound or it doesn't buzz, but it shows up on the top of my screen. And I found that that's pretty important to have as a moderator and an admin, because you want to be able to see some of those comments in there that people probably shouldn't be making, or people are asking questions. I mean, it's we have people that are awake 24/7 in our Break Club Discord. So, you can ask a question anytime, and somebody will be there to answer it.
So I have a question for that. So what is the process of getting a seller's room in there? It looks amazing. That looks where like you want to be, is a seller's room in that Discord.
So the big thing is every seller in there is 100% backed by Ben, Midwest Box Breaks. So part of that is just building a relationship with the group, proving that you're a trusted seller. You're not somebody that's going to scam. We've only had one scammer that I know of that made it into the group, and he made it onto Twitter too. Once we knew about him, he was gone.
Is that a seller or a buyer?
That was somebody in our original Break Club that was selling cards that off of images that weren't his. So you see a lot of us that have our chips, and whether you believe in the philosophy of the chip and what it stands for or not, we won't go into. But if you've got a unique item in your picture, to me that's saying I own this card. I'm not trying to steal somebody's image off the internet, and that's the scammers that I saw when I first joined the hobby. Were, I've got this Jordan rookie card here for sale. Who wants to buy it? Who knows if they really have that card or if it's real or not.
My question on Midwest Box Breaks website, you can buy a chip for $10. Is there any limitations that you have to have a chip, or can just anyone buy it?
Anyone can buy the chip. You have to sign up for an account and give your name and address, your email, your email address. So you have to give some personal information to get it. It's $10.
Standpoint, because if the scammer buys the chip, and if that kind of like solidifies their legitness, and then they scam people. I'm not saying the chip's a bad thing. I think the chips are cool because I know all the breakers have them and Ben has them. But I just don't understand how scammers just can't buy the chip and then say that they're legit all of a sudden.
They could, but chances are, if you have to give your personal information to somebody's website,
you're not going to do that.
Yeah, you're not going to do that.
I'm not going to give my name, address, phone number to Mike and then try to sell you a Jordan that doesn't exist when you now have all of my information and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to call my local police department because you just had a theft for $10,000. Now all of a sudden I have grand theft on my account because Mike can be like, hey, I know that Chris is this guy and he lives in this town and this is his address and this is his phone number. And this is his Twitter handle, and this is where he works, and this is his firstborn child. Like, I don't know what I'm just kidding around because I don't know what you guys ask for. I don't have a chip. But, yeah, definitely, like, if you're giving someone your information, that's just asinine. Like, that's stupid.
My second question would be, how many rooms are being made a week in this Discord? Like, 2 rooms a week, 5 rooms a week? What's, like, the going rate for the room here?
So when we first opened it, our initial goal was to have 10 by the end of the first week. And I think we had 20 by the end of the third day. It just, those first couple of days it just took off, the people were selling. So, we had a list we went through of the group that we were going to start with. Now we're adding some here and there. We're kind of letting things settle we're working on some improvements to make the experience a little better for buyers. We added the in search of feature recently, so buyers can go in and say, hey, can put in we put the entry in a Google form, so it saves in a spreadsheet of this is what I'm looking for. Our sellers all have access to the spreadsheet so they can go through the list. Maybe they're sorting cards to determine what to list next. They can have the in search of results there saying, oh, I've got this, I don't know, Hakeem Olajuwon card here. there's somebody on the list that says they want Hakeem Olajuwon. So I'll contact them and see if they're interested in it before I list it.
So I've got a big question for you, Mike. At what point does it become too big? Because I noticed, I was like number 49 or something like that, and you got a bunch more people in there now. So if it gets too many sellers, how does that? Is there a point where you'll cut them off or maybe make an additional one? Because if there's too many sellers, I think that kind of defeats the purpose of having the small group who, or maybe you can rotate in people like, okay, you 50 people have 3 months, and then you next 50 people have 3 months or something like that. If you have, 200 people with the room, how would that be different than, say, a Midwest Box Break sales thread on Twitter where, just anybody can get in? I realize it's all people backed by Midwest Box Breaks and you find people, but is there a point where it just gets to be too big? Is that a thing that you guys have discussed or even thought about?
We haven't got to that point yet. We're kind of hitting some of those. We're hitting a point where, we've got the majority of the main group in. We have some people that, we thought would want the selling room just based on their reputation in the group. But, I think maybe after they saw what time other sellers are putting in to support their room, that maybe it's more work than they want to take on. But we're looking at adding a few here and there, but I don't know that it'll ever get to a point where it'll be too big. I mean, there's some limitations within Discord on having, certain number of channels and stuff like that. We're far away from that. But I don't think more sellers is a bad thing, especially if we can get more buyers. I mean, we're at
absolutely.
I know you said 14,000. We're at like 1,400.
I was just missing, add an extra zero, whatever. It's cool.
But if we could get into the 2,000, the 5,000 from a buyer's perspective, then having 75 or 100 sellers would easily be supported.
And I don't know, Travis, if you participate in stack sales or not, but on Mondays, our group that Kelly's in and Dylan, Cardboard Connection, Vito's been running it for the last month, and I did it for a while. And then Kevin Fee, we got to find somebody new for the next month. But we run, a stack sale on Monday, just like, other people do on other days. And I noticed since the Discord took over, we have a significant drop in our impressions, which, that's neither here nor there, good thing, bad thing, whatever. I mean, I'm just here to have connections with people. If I sell something, great. If I don't, whatever. But, Kelly will tell you, I'm here more. I sell other people's cards more than I sell my own cards, just by retweets or, tagging someone in something like that. But, Kelly or Travis, you guys can weigh in. Have you seen, since this opened up, a month ago, like a significant drop in online Twitter sales, or do you participate in stack sales? Travis, what?
I don't do like total stack sales usually. What I'll do is I'll get a stack of cards. I mean, that's not like I said, it would be a stack sale technically, but I get a pile of cards, but usually it's not very many. Like I won't do a whole bunch for the most part, and I'll list a price for it, and then if it doesn't sell, then I'll lower it $5. Usually almost everything I sell ends up selling, but it's never more than like 20 cards I'm selling at a time. Never go too in depth, so I haven't really seen too much of a problem with it. And I'm in the Midwest Box Breaks Discord, and I'm always in there buying stuff, so it doesn't seem to affect me too bad.
I know, Kelly, we just talked earlier that you sell way more stuff on your own than you ever do in our thread. What have you seen lately?
Yeah, that's something that I really haven't understood, because I don't have nearly as many followers as I have eyes on the Monday thread. But my stack sale, I try to do a stack sale once a month to get rid of some of the extra stuff that I have laying around, and I do way better on my own stack sales than I do on the Monday threads.
Do you tag hobby connectors in all your stack sales, or when you're like lifting them? Yeah. See, I think that just ends up doing the most. Hobby connector seems to connect with so many people, and I think it's just a huge part of being able to just sell off single cards, or however how many you're doing at a time.
If you guys didn't know, if you hashtag tops, that sends to, I don't remember, one of the bots auto retweets it too. So if you guys aren't using that, definitely do. So we have a thing where I always tell people, I see Logan's League, he does stack sales sometimes. Like, man, if you make your own hashtag, like I use Gold Line Sale, then you don't have to filter through all of the stuff. So we say, hey, use Cardboard Connection, use your own hashtag. That way you don't got to filter through everything. You can just go on your own hashtag, hit all, and then you can see all the cards you posted, then, retweet or modified tweet and drop it $5. You didn't sell it, or, find what you sold right there. So I think that's a big thing too, is tagging people. And, I people know I collect Jesse Winker for my kid. My wife likes Joey Votto and Yasiel Puig. My other kids got Cooper Cup, and I'm all about the Reds and Cody Bellinger. And I get tagged in so much stuff, like 20, 30 tags a day. And it's like, okay, this is great that I know enough people who know that I like these cards. But then also it's like, okay, you're selling this $30 card for $60. And I'm like, oh, does this person, obviously, like Kevin Fee yesterday, he's my buddy, tags me in a Bellinger card. Guy's selling it for $60. I go look on eBay. Last sold's like 30, and I got like 3 of them here. I'm like, shit, this is going for $60. I'm selling them right now. It's like, I know Kevin didn't go out and price that and see if it was a good deal. He just saw a Bellinger, thought of Chris, and thought of me. And that's a good feeling too when people see a Senzel and tag me in it, or just see stuff like that. I think that's super cool. It's getting back to just the people. So
got to give a shout out in the comments. It's like Kim Flanders is in there. And if you all are familiar with Kim and Jeffrey, just amazing people. Wife and I set up a Zoom with them a few weeks ago. We need to get another one set up. But hi, Kim.
I have to show something off while Kim's here. So we had Eric Hecker on last night on the show with Che, and he was talking about the rack of the day stuff. And I very rarely accept racks from people or enter contests or anything. It's just, send it to somebody else. Enough people send me stuff. Kelly sends me stuff like once a month. But Kim had this card in her rack of the day, and I won this card. And I told him, I said, just because of how special the rack of the day is, because how special, the cause behind it is. Like, I went and got it for my slab stack back there, because this is my absolute PC that's never leaving my collection. It's a James Conner rated rookie optic PSA 9. But I got this from Kim and Eric Hecker's rack of the day. And so, like, to me, this is just a more meaningful card than any dollar amount. And I just wanted to mention that since she was on here watching that, thank you. And if you guys aren't doing the rack of the day or watching the Ripping for the Cure, they've already raised over $15,000 for Crohn's and colitis already. Like, they're doing some good stuff over there. Yeah.
I got to show off. So Kim tagged me in a contest, and I ended up with the Bo Bichette PSA 8 out of that, just because she tagged me. So
that's awesome.
Yep, that's another. I'm not a Bo Bichette fan. I mentioned earlier I don't worry about slabs, but that card will never leave my collection. It'll probably be in my will that goes for one of to Jeffrey.
Awesome. Looks like we're dying down here. But Kelly, you about to show us something? Looks like you went and got something. Or should I show off my Project 70 Bellingers here?
That's my favorite card for the Bo Bichette collection, my 5x7.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing. I got a DeMarco Murray rookie card sitting in front of me.
You got a Pokemon card. And show the Pokemon card again.
These are my daughters. They
got that Bo Bichette right there. Go ahead.
Everybody wants Pokemon cards.
My daughters had them sitting right here, and then I've got stacks from stuff from videos. Oh, I guess I got this. This is my Christian Javier collection so far, from the pitcher for the Astros.
Wow, not bad.
No, working on him, but I'm trying to get the rainbow for 2021 Series 1. So if you guys see anything lower than out of 50, tag me in it. All right, anything out of 50 or lower. I have everything up to 50. So
speaking of rainbow,
awesome. I know nothing about Pokemon. I was even told it's Pokemon, not Pokemon. Then I had Old Town Cards, Shooty Stacks, and Larry Legend on a show, and they just went on and on and on about Pokemon, and kind of like, okay, let's go buy some. Then my daughter's 5. She absolutely loved it. So I went out and bought a bunch of stuff. And then Larry, or no, Shooty Stacks, Eric, he wins the rack of the day. And he ends up being a Pokemon things like, nope, we got to send it to Claire. So then we get more Pokemon. Then we got these little lunchbox tins. She's like, oh, this is what I'm taking to school now, the lunchbox tin. And so now I've got to learn about it because, you know, I'm 38 and I imagine you guys are around my age or so. And, you know, that wasn't big when I was a kid. And a lot of these other guys who are, you know, in their 20s, like Pokemon was huge when they were kids. And, you know, I was collecting Jordan and Marino and Montana. Like, you know, those were the guys. So I knew nothing about it until recently. And now I've got, you know, stacks of stuff and different websites to read and YouTube videos to watch to find out like what is what. Like I'm opening stuff. I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce names. I don't know if it's a good card. I don't know if, you know, I should give it to Cooper to play with or I should put it in my PSA stack. I have no idea what I have. And I'm like, somebody help. So those three guys have been, you know, super awesome in helping me out.
Yep, that's the Pokemon completely. It was something I grew up with. I'm 34, so when I was in junior high or so, I did collect Pokemon. I think it was junior high, and it was a big deal for me. So the original stuff, but then I just completely I was out of it at some point, and then now my daughters are into it. I have 9 and 11-year-old daughter, and they're both super into it. So I guess that's basically what it is. But everything they're pulling out now, I have no idea what their names are or what they're from, what they get. And I actually play the Pokemon game sometimes on my Switch, but I still don't know anything about them. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so much different because you can't go out and be like, okay, Charizard had 30 points and 20 assists last night. You know, it's like, I got no idea what's going on.
But Charizard's not going to get a high ankle sprain and then be out for 5 weeks.
There you go. There it is.
So you talked about rainbows earlier. I'm the Damian Williams Phoenix game over rainbow guy. So
that's a tough rainbow.
I need the black to 10 and I need the little one and everything else.
Is that from this year's Phoenix?
That's this year's Phoenix. Yep, 2020 Phoenix.
I don't think I got anything out of 10. I opened up only like one hobby of that.
Show mine off real quick. My daughter's got, it's in her room, but we got a 2019 Jesse Winker Chrome. She only needs like 3 more left. But then my son's name's Cooper. So we started collecting Cooper Cup, and he changed his jersey number from 18 to 10 back to college. In optics, the first one where he had 10. So going after the rainbow. So we've got these nice here. So I've got the 1 of 1 and then the 10. So I need the 5. And then a whole bunch of retail color I need, except for almost every numbered one. In these two, it's really hard to see with my ring light. Let me see if I can turn that off. No, it's really not any better. But we've got a whole bunch of them. But the important one is we got the 1 of 1 and paid way too much money for it. But if you're gonna, I mean, if it's available and you're really going hard after it, they have the market cornered. They can ask what they want for it, you know.
Yeah, that's why I've pretty much always given up on that ones. I'm like, if I don't pull it, I'm probably never getting it.
Yeah. So as soon as I got the 1 of 1, I was like, all right, well, the 10's out there. I got to pay for it too, you know. I mean, my son's going to be 2 in 2 weeks. Imagine like on his 4th birthday when he gets this as a present, you know, like he has no idea. He likes playing with cards. Like I'll give him some base cards. He likes looking at them. He'll take them, go put them in stacks and stuff. But he'll basically 2, so he doesn't know what's going on. But like, how cool of a gift is that for? Oh, hey, Cooper, by the way, I got this for you, and it's like $600 worth of cards just sitting in the sweet rainbow.
And you got the most important one also, so that's gonna be
you
getting that 1 of 1 is crazy.
I haven't seen the 10 or the 1 of 1 come up, so.
Yeah, because I scooped them right away. But if you guys see the 5, I definitely need that. And then the pink scope out of 75. And then a whole bunch of the retail exclusive colors I have not seen, which makes me think that there's a bunch of hobby or a bunch of optic retail just sitting on people's shelves, like not selling the boxes, because all of the hobby numbers, basically, like I've got all of them. So people are ripping the hobby boxes. But then the retails, like there's nothing on eBay or I'm sure like COMC and other Mercari and stuff. Can't send them in yet, but eBay, nothing's there. I always put on the Set Builder Sunday. Hey, this is what I'm looking for with the Winker and the Cup, and no one's got them. So if you guys ever see, 2019 Winker Chrome or 2020 Cooper Cup optics, please let me know.
So you mentioned your kids, and so another thing for me is seeing kids in the hobby and trying to learn about what they collect. So, from now on, I'll look for Cooper stuff. I'll look for. I sent Claire a couple. I sent Claire some NASCAR
Yeah.
stuff. So for Kelly and Trav, Chris knows about this name, but if you have anything Keenan Allen, one of my buddies, Kent, has a son named Keenan and collects Keenan Allen stuff. He'll collect anything Keenan, but Keenan Allen's kind of the recent player that doesn't have a lot of card value, but to Kent's son, they're priceless. So
is he sitting on like Keenan McCardell and like stuff that's old school, older Jaguar?
He probably would. I found it was on one of the sales threads. Somebody had, it was like a Keenan Johnson or something like that. It was an auto, and I picked that up for like $3 just so I could send it to his son. So
basically, anything that has Keenan on, and Keenan Allen's the big one is what we're looking for him.
Yeah, he's a football fan, and obviously Keenan Allen, being a rookie, that's the most popular one. But yeah, I'd say pretty much anything Keenan. And I know they were trying to do the Mosaic Rainbow, and had, I think they had probably 20 or 25 of the Mosaic Rainbow built.
I'd gotten so much Mosaic retail at the store, like just been able. I was lucky enough to constantly see it when I walked in, and I opened up so much of it and then I started working on the Bam Adebayo Rainbow Forks. He's my favorite basketball player right now, and man, it's crazy how expensive just some of those parallels are, and they're not rookie cards either. But that's just basketball as a whole right now.
Yeah,
it's so expensive, it's ridiculous. So I gave up on that one.
And so there's a Cooper Cup super collector on Twitter, and so I hit him up, and I was like real nervous about him. Like, he says he's got like 100 and more than 100 one-of-ones. Kelly, you leaving? Sorry, we talked Kelly's ear off, so he's out. So he says he's got more than 100 one-of-ones. So I messaged him like, dude, are you going after the optic? Because I'm trying to get it for my son's rainbow. He's like, no, man, it's all you. It's it's not my kind of card. I'm like, okay, cool. What do you think is actually going to go for? He's like, oh, that one will probably go for 250, 300. So I'm like, all right, with like 7 seconds left, I bid 275 and it sells for 156. I'm like, all right, no, whatever. So the guy's like, all right, just keep chit chatting with him about this, that, or the other. He gets my address and he sends my son autographed Cooper Cup out of 100.
That's his rookie card too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like a rookie auto? Yeah, that's cool.
Rookie auto out of 25. Rookie auto out of 50. And Contenders Draft Class Silver rookie auto out of 99.
And if you play fantasy, the Cooper Cup's also a stud in fantasy.
Yeah, Cooper Cup won me my year, and people were literally like in my draft. Like, I gotta ask you, why'd you pick Cooper Cup over Robert Woods? I'm like, because my son's name's Cooper. Like, that's literally the reason. Like, they're two very comparable guys, and he ends up just balling out in the playoffs. I'm like, okay, thanks for the 750.
Yeah, he's a PPR stud, so really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to head out too. My wife is now home, so I got to give her the attention.
Yeah, it's been an hour and a half on here, so I'm sure my wife's asleep because it's 10:30 at our house. But thank you guys so much for being on here. BCB After Dark, DMs welcome. So they just joined the show. But hey, one quick thing real quick, since they just jumped on, give you 2 more minutes. So we're going to opening day Thursday. Buck City Breaks is going too. They're like, hey, we got front row tickets in left field where Winker plays. DMs me like, hey, man, in like the 7th inning or something, stroll on down here. We got an extra ticket. We'll switch seats for a little bit. Claire can sit there and try to talk to Jesse Winker. And we got her like a special Winker shirt and everything. And so he sent her happy birthday on her birthday. So we're gonna try to get that going. So
that is super awesome. Good luck. Hopefully she can at least get an autograph or something and talk to him. That'd be amazing.
She just said that with just me, her, my dad going, she's like, I just want to say hi to him. Like I'll be a grown man sitting there crying, and he's probably gonna think it's weird, but stuff like that means so much to you. So
take lots of pictures so we can see what happens and how it goes.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Took up an hour and a half of your night, so I appreciate it so much. You guys have a great night, and I appreciate you being here and what you do for the hobby. So,
all right, thank you very much for having me.
Everybody in the comments, we are signing off. Good night.